Sunday, September 10th, 2023. It's 7 o'clock in the morning local time here. I'm going to continue my discussion from yesterday and focus on do. Do, 2 letters, a simple word. In this context, and in all contexts actually that I'm familiar with, the word do, it's the shortest, simplest word of to act or action or to it's a verb to transform or to change something, to improve something, presumably. After we plan something out, then we would do the plan, we would do the work, we would implement our plan. Professionally, this would be when a lot of the hiring takes place. We're hiring our contractors, we're really, for project management, we're hiring all our plumbers, we're hiring our tradespeople, we're whatever the project is, that's where we're hiring everybody, and that's when if it's construction, when the construction's being done, if it's information technology project, that's when we're installing all the software and testing it and upgrading it and connecting databases and moving servers around and so forth, whatever that IT project is. That's when, for a project, that's when most of the time is spent during a project. As much time as we spend in planning, and as much time as we should spend doing more of it, conventionally, we spend more time in the do phase. Conventionally, we spend very little time on the check phase, and acting upon those checks for most organizations is pretty non-existent. You'd have to be a pretty large, pretty mature to have all 4 of those working really well. Manufacturing, aerospace, and pretty much industries that are directly linked to military or that employs a lot of former military would be the only organizations I could think of. They really do all 4 of those really well, and it's out of necessity, of course. Do is frequently a person's favorite part of a project. That's when all the happenings are. That's when we're really seeing the efforts and fruition of our planning come alive. It's, people often describe, that's when the baby is born, right? The vision that they've captured on paper and all their documents, and in some cases years or decades of effort and preparation. The do is when the space shuttle's actually launched, right? So it's usually the favorite part and the most exciting part for people. In pop culture, we have Nike, just do it. And that maybe speaks to, in some ways, just how important that word do is. You need to do it. Whatever your goal, whatever your purpose is, yeah, you need to make a plan, but your plan is absolutely worthless if you don't actually do your plan. At some point, because for some of us, the tremendous amount of pleasure comes from planning and refining. At some point, we also need to do the plan and and take the bumps and quirks and surprises that come from stepping off of paper and into the at times risky environment of implementing, which is kind of the other modern term for project management. That, for instance, Project Management Institute would use the term implement. So you've planned, do, check and act. Arguably, do of the four is probably the simplest to describe, even though it takes up the most time. I think it's the one that people are simply the most familiar and comfortable with. If you're constructing a house, you have your planning phase, or you're meeting with your architect and refining your floor plan and so forth. And then do, that's the, you know, you had some adventure when you were planning. Maybe you allow yourself to get your building permits and documentation in lined up. Then do, that's when you're breaking ground, you're pouring concrete, and you know things are getting flooded, and things aren't arriving on time, and you need to adapt and adjust and solve problems in the real world. That's a really exciting part for a lot of people. And that's to do. C'est tout pour aujourd'hui. À la prochaine. Until next time.